Like this is such a cool color. I'll never wear
And they
it.
also use like these colors to make it shiny.
You're thinking you're adding a third dimension to
Dimension,
the
exactly.
textile, so it
Yeah.
really becomes a solid
Yes.
that
yes.
you're creating.
Yes. Like this to me, it's up. There's 3 dimensions. Yes.
Yeah. And so the fact that she has a weft on top, and which is literally above 2 wefts that she has on the bottom.
Right.
So she's really making 3 layers of shed,
Yeah.
preserving 3 layers of shed.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And you can see it. I mean, it's there. It's visible on the loom, but still, it's just so hard to.
So now she's going to get the right. She doesn't have it yet. She has to select half of those threads. So she's got all of her light or of her background threads in. She only wants half of them.
So she said that she learned this only when she got married because
Okay.
her mother-in-law taught her.
Oh.
Okay.
It's not a technique that in her family, like among the
Yeah.
sisters, not all of them know. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Sometimes they use plastic bags. I have mixed feelings about plastic bags.
Yeah, the maguey fiber is nice though.
It is very nice.
The weft. There's a structural weft underneath. That's very.
Because the belt, especially, they want it to be hard.
Yes. You don't want it to roll over.
How beautiful it is with the sheds and the color change.
Yeah, like this cochineal shed.
This is an interesting way of getting both of the colors. You open one of the sheds, you pick the right threads, then you get the other shed, and you pick the other, and then you combine them. This is very different than the Andrew way of forming a cross between the two and just selecting across the row.
Yeah?
So,
Oh, check that out.
so see, now she's got all the threads she wants for the pattern to be on top.
I kept some of the Osage orange, but I wanted to give
Okay, I think this is... Es que es bien avanzado para mí. Mi cerebro limitado.
Sí, es que esto es muy...
Oh no, for sure. No.
I can remember myself. Maybe we just leave it in the bowl or no,
I have it, and I think they could. It's hard because I can't get it again, but it would be interesting just to.
Well, but it's
experiment with.
the same for us. It's hard to go to the stuff we work with.
Right,
We
you can't get it.
Yeah, but we just thought, John just thought, it was his idea.
Yeah, it's a fun. I mean, we kill it.
And there's a little shine in there too, isn't there?
that I know it well enough.
Yeah, this is where you use that supplementary warp. It looks like she may be changing colors.
¿Y cómo eliges los colores?
Molds or something or
It's a waste product.
Lo que quieras. Sí.
Whatever you want.
But, yeah, so if we come back, if you decide you want more, to say, if it works out, say, hey, we're gonna send her in.
That's really nice of you guys. Thank you.
Well,
Some of them
one of the
really,
lighter
some
things
of
to
them.
carry.
I'm
It
sure
is true. It takes space, but
There's
it's
really a lot of thought to what
Yeah,
colors
do
should
you
go
want to
in.
show her what it will look like, the picture?
I don't. I looked it up in the so yeah, that's a good
This
idea.
is a faja, yeah.
It's the book's in the suitcase. Yeah, it'll
Falda
explode
is
it.
skirt and
Es
pants.
estas.
Online and show for.
Son las fajas.
This is taking a video and I'll share it with you all
Wonderful, that's very kind of you.
because this is
Bob Street.
rather complicated.
Oh, yeah, and I love complicated. I mean, I'm not at this level, but this is how it's been done. She's got 3 huddle sticks. Okay.
the string heddle.
Yeah,
That beautiful.
three sting heddles and a couple of others that are doing various interesting things.
And like many swords. Check that out, right?
I thought you were gonna get two, and I said get more.
Oh, these down here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
mini
yeah.
ones for the
Cause you like
shed.
it.
She's doing some serious maneuvering.
Because she has to lift several sheds at a time to get what she
Yeah.
needs.
Well, she has to lift several sheds and she has to combine sheds. And I'm waiting to see if I see a manipulation that's called an X cross, which is a double weave technique.
Do you want a chair, Bill?
I haven't seen it yet. I will probably in a minute.
I can get
This
you a
gets me
chair.
down to eye level where I can see what's
You
going
can
on.
grab any of the chairs here, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, John's too chicken to try weaving. He said he wants me to show him when I get home.
We want to scoot down to the village for a minute, too.
If you can do fine woodworking, you can plain weave. I guarantee you.
I'm sure also, yeah.
Did you get your room set up, Kathy?
No, I was hoping John was his football game. It was,
Got started.
distracted.
Got started. and
I
then-
got started and then he lost. We ran out of bandwidth on one phone, so then I hooked him up to my phone, and then we ran out of bandwidth for that, and then we were running around the hotel trying to find Wi-Fi.
Yeah, strong enough to
Strong enough.
Oh, you should have come to my room. I have really good Wi-Fi.
That was the discussion. Nobody knew what room you were in.
Ay, perdón.
So
So why is that wet?
she's opened the
Oh, that's
shed rod
that's
shed
the guava
underneath.
thread that you were calling.
My
I
guy.
thought that was the name of the weaving.
Yes, okay.
That's it's a agave.
Now she's
From the
opening
plant.
the
It's
other
a-
shed.
To me, it looks more like
the shed
linen or
rod.
something
This
like
is the
that. It's
main
kind of,
That's
Pretty
like,
stiff,
Yeah.
so I think it was just softens it.
and so by putting it in the water, it makes it soft.
That's like a
I
cat.
And
see
I
what you
believe
did
she
there.
will pass the weft back.
Yeah, it's a succulent.
It's a sugar. Isn't it? You can get a agave.
I may not have the sequence down. Yeah, she's passing the weft back.
Agave plants and tequila, like this is the, these are the
I
So you
love
have a
that.
pattern shed that floats on top
Yes.
for 2 rows, but then you have the main shed underneath. So there's 2 rows for every tip of the pattern.
so cool.
While in double weave, you only have 1 row and the tip, and it's 2 structural wefts, one on
In
top.
the same.
No, it's not.
No está sonriéndote porque
Es que esta
está muy
necesita
enfocada.
mucha concentración. Sí.
No, esta-
They were trying to find another use for it so that they could raise the price.
There was some sort of goat.
Yeah.
It's like spider webs. You could make.
She's picking up.
She's picking up here. She's only the dark threads.
To
Okay.
bring up for her pattern.
Right. She's only picking the dark threads.
So school hasn't started for him yet this week? Not until February, you said.
Maybe, it's, yeah.
February.
Yeah, for the older kids it's February.
See, it's nice to see her struggling like this.
Well, you know,
Because-
you make mistakes and you go back and you
Yeah,
have to
but
do it.
I feel like,
When you're separating black threads from black threads, I mean,
That's very difficult, yes.
but I'll spend you know, doing it 3 or 4 times to get one.
And see, to produce this structure, I would probably handle it differently.
Realize, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
3 lines down, and I have to undo all of it.
That doesn't mean that my way is easier, but it's the way I know.
So the first loom I got
Well,
was
that
for the
would
Zoom
be
class.
particularly
And
interesting
after I
if you
came
come
here, I
back with
realized
a
what I was
loom.
doing wrong.
And
So I
that's
just
pedaled,
spread the
it's done
work
my way.
snipped
And
down
we
with
sit
the
here
same
side by
results,
side
yeah.
and we talk about it and we get the same
That
thing.
would be
you know,
quite
on the
puzzling.
shutter, and I just rewove it, you know. And it's like, yeah, I'm glad I did that.
So
you know?
my standard is
Cut it out and start
to
again.
think of it in terms of warp
Because there was
layers. And
somebody
so
that
I would
had a
have 2
pattern.
black
Oh,
petals
is this
and
too
2
far back? You know, it
yellow
was like an
petals.
8-shaft
You
pattern.
know, 2 of the other petals.
Spread the warp and cut it.
Okay.
Like the shed rod
Get
is,
rid of it.
I've
Because
had 2
you're
heddles for the
making
threads
things
under and 2
fuzzier
heddles for the
Yeah.
threads
By, you
over.
know,
Undoing
undoing
everything.
it.
Every other thread in both cases.
Okay.
And that would
course,
allow
here they
me
would
to
never
pull
waste.
up everything. It would also allow me to pick from
Yeah,
across.
they would undo it, redo it. But they
See,
probably
she's
wouldn't have
picked
gone that
mistake.
far.
the black threads,
That
the
right
negro,
Perdón.
udimbre, primero, and now she's got all of the light threads. She's got part of the light threads, not all of them. The ones, and they're, it's like they're 2 different warp layers. And
This is a lot of layers.
so now she's got,
Right
so
now.
now she's picking the light threads to go into spaces between the black threads.
No, not yet.
This is a lot of picking.
And it's she has to effectively pick the same pattern twice. She has to think the pattern twice. Well, if
So
she
kind of
uses the
the
black threads
opposites.
as a reference to pick
Yeah.
the yellow threads. But she has to do the selection twice. And I would have made a cross between the 2, and I would just work my way. I'd either pick the black or I'd pick the yellow. But I picked at every warp, every bout of the warp. I would be picking one or the other in the threads,
Has that
which is an
memorized.
Indian way
Just
of
to go
doing it.
make that one pass, what it needs to pull up.
I think that's too advanced for me, Bob. I mean, I'm also unfamiliar with the Andean way, but I mean, this is a lot of sheds right here.
There's a
And then she
lot of
combines them.
manipulation. She just combined them together by setting both swords on edge and picking underneath.
Fish is still going back and forth.
Yeah, now I think what we'll have, one of those swords is going to come out. I think.
Nobody knows which.
Maybe. Yeah, she dropped her yellow threads. I think there was a mistake.
Happens now.
This is structural. No, but she's going to go get her yellow threads again. Which is one of the auxiliary heddles back here. It gives her half of the yellow threads.
Yeah.
Which is a plain weave.
If you did not pick a pattern, what you would see, if you don't pick a pattern, you notice how it looks the
Yeah.
same on both sides?
I mean, that I understand.
Everywhere there's a black here, there's a white here. Okay, when you're picking a pattern, ignoring the color that's in here, what happens is you either bring half of the blacks or half of the yellows. You select between half of the blacks and half of the yellows to go on top.
Yeah.
And the blacks you pick up are the ones. Wow, it's hard to, I don't have the words exactly to explain it.
He's afraid to.
Like his Spanish classes.
Yes, like Spanish classes.
Right. I'm a coward at heart.
If you think about it, you know, on one of these pattern rows, I'm not sure whether the black row comes first on top if you don't pick anything, or the white row comes first on top if you don't pick anything. If the black row comes first on top, what you're doing is picking only the blacks you want to be on top,
Then I
and then you
understand.
pick the whites that would be on the back side. You take some
You
of
bring
it-
them up?
You bring them
Yeah.
all the way up.
And then you create that shed
And
also.
then you create that shed, and then you hold that on. You hold those threads on top while you weave all. You pass the weft twice on all the threads left over on the bottom, so that you end up with a selection of black and white on. So if you look very carefully, you can just begin to see the pattern in the back side.
Yeah, there's
And those are
bigger-
the threads that have been, the black threads have been picked
Picked
off.
up so that it's up and
Yeah.
not down. Yeah.
Yeah.
I get that.
And likewise, in the other case, some of the white threads have been picked up as opposed to left down. But it's a very beautiful technique. You know, I have to,
Yes.
I can also take some video too, but show.
Esta vez solo así poquitito haces cada día.
Ajá.
Sí.
Entonces,
Solo
¿cuánto tiempo para
poquitito,
terminar una faja?
Esta lleva mucho tiempo.
¿Como cuándo? Depende.
Depende. Como un mes tal vez.
Maybe a month to finish a faja.
I was gonna ask how much you can weave in a day.
Sí.
About 3 inches in a day. Some of my weavings, if I get 2 or 3 inches in a day, I feel like I'm doing really good.
I mean, this level of concentration, I think it's hard to find time to be able to do that, right? Plain weave, you can sort of be doing other stuff, your
yeah.
mind is somewhere else.
You can talk. Yeah. I have to concentrate. I can't talk to anybody when I'm weaving something like this.
And then you're tired because it's a lot of brain power, right? Like,
Some of it becomes a rhythm, and you don't think. You have to think a little bit so you don't screw up. But the motions become so repetitive that even these motions you begin to.
but like the figures are not so repetitive, you know. It's not that you're doing the same thing over and over.
I think a lot of the difficulty, yes, is maintaining the figuras and doing them right. You know,
Yeah.
Each pass is a different picking, right? I mean, you're in a different part of the figure. Yeah, they don't really repeat.
Yeah, the fact it doesn't really repeat is,
Yeah.
and there are most of the Andean weavers I know, the patterns do repeat.
Interesting.
The Jauca, which I visited just a few months ago in Bolivia, it's all stream of consciousness. And they'll do wide weavings where they've got figures kind of it's like a mosaic of creatures.
Yeah.
And so they may be halfway through one creature while they've got another completely different one. They're just starting, and a third one over here they're just finishing. And as they're picking their way through the row, they've got, and it's all in their head. There's no pattern. They're not reading a cloth.
Right.
They're just
They're
weaving.
just going.
They're
I
just
kind of felt that
weaving.
with the haspe that we saw, the demonstration.
Yeah, I
felt
think so
she
too.
was
There's
doing
some of that going on
yeah.
too. Yeah. We're so tuned to working from a pattern.
But also, I think these patterns are so ingrained in your consciousness, it helps for them to flow out.
Yeah.
But
see-
Aiko says she works that way too. I like that. It's just her consciousness. Like she said that sometimes a dog will like come to her and say, "I want to be in your tapestry." So she's like, "Aiko," because she just goes fully from her own mind. I think she'll draw a piece if she thinks, oh, okay, this I'm gonna put this dog here. She might draw the dog to have and put it behind, but
She doesn't have a big plan for the
piece,
entire
yeah, it
tapestry.
goes, yeah. I like that.
But see here we're reading an old textile, getting the pattern from an old textile.
Yeah.
Está sacando.
John thinks for her.
You think what? I like.
You thought you
But
were
she's
her
favoring
favorite
you.
student. Yes.
Yeah.
Of course you were.
Mi profesora.
I think I'm her favorite. She always smiles at She smiles at everybody.
You're both her favorites.
Yeah, it's
No
everybody's
fighting.
She has room for multiple favorites.
So actually the weaving process here has a huge amount in common.
Cuando yo me casé,
with double
no
cloth.
sabía hacer esto
No.
Which
No.
is
¿Y cómo aprendiste?
con mi suegra.
De veras.
Sí, mi suegra hacía
It's
esto,
more common,
nosotros
it's known
hacemos
in
eso.
both,
For down the road.
you know,
Entonces no es que todas aprenden
No.
este
Esto
tejido.
and
no todos.
particularly in South
Por ejemplo, todos los que están ahí no
so
saben.
they were
Es
independent.
bien interesante
Sí,
eso.
nadie,
There are
nadie.
multiple kinds of double
Son
cloth,
algunas
workers,
mujeres que
double
saben
cloth,
aquí, no
if
todas.
you learn how to do simpler.
Okay.
Entonces, pero aprendiste, o sea, no muy de chiquito, pues.
No,
Well, no, I
esta
haven't
sí
seen
no.
much not balance
Esta sí no.
double cloth there. But you can find archaeological examples in South
es
America of
complicado.
balance weave double
Sí.
cloth. You know, right here, there's no effort, for example, to have a black weft and a weft for the foreground and a weft for the background and pass them between the
Okay.
layers, so that you literally have, you know, a foreground cloth and a background cloth with the correctly colored wefts.
Okay.
If you're warp-faced, you don't care what the weft colors are, and so there's some simplification
Right.
because you
Yes.
don't have to cross the wefts.
That makes sense. Okay, I see what you're saying.
And that's the one that's followed.
de frío.
Sí, por el frío.
Yes.
El brillo
Jennifer
por el
Moore,
frío.
I don't know whether you know
El
who she
brillo.
is. She's a master weaver in Santa Fe,
Okay.
and who is also on the Andean Textile Arts Board, and we're friends. And, there are some. Yeah, she has offered to, come to my studio, and I will show you how to do this. And I also had a demonstration. She reintroduced it to the Andean weavers around Cusco.
When you're
So
spinning
there are some
linen,
weavers there now.
You have a bowl of water
Oh, wow.
next to you and you.
Because it's in there, weaving
The
heritage.
problem is when it gets on
But it got
the bobbin,
Yeah. As
It
things
tends to
do over
nest.
thousands of years.
Right.
if it breaks and you lose it.
Well, and
hard
you're dealing
to
with
find the end.
500
And it
years
gets really,
of colonial
like, nested,
rule where
tangled in.
the Spanish
Even though
wanted
we
something
were
completely
on-
different.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
to put
They're
it on the
dictating what's
nitty
coming out.
nutty.
Yeah.
So that just reminds me a lot of linen.
Oh,
I'm
that's
sure there's
fascinating.
much of that here.
A lot of. I mean, I think all of the natural dye was
I've got a bobbin over
lost,
that.
was commodified.
No idea where
then
it
lost.
is. Because again, I'm like, you know.
So I believe that, you know, I don't know whether double cloth existed in Maya culture or not, because we don't have any archaeological. Not so much the threads that are on the bottom, but the threads that are the background.
I can see that. I see that. Yeah.